easy to overlook in reading the Old Testament those verses that Margaret read to us from the book of Exodus. Just before, we have the account of the golden calf. Just after, we have the story of God appearing to Moses and revealing himself in what John Greenleaf Whittier called the still small voice of calm. And we know those stories well. Between those two stories, however, there are a number of conversations between the Lord and Moses. Not the most exciting, we might think, part of the narrative. But one of the things you notice when you read the Old Testament is that at certain points the story slows right down, goes into a great deal of detail. And as you become familiar with Old Testament narrative, it becomes apparent that that is the text and the author saying, now listen a minute, what I'm about to say is important. It's as though if we were writing Exodus today and producing it in modern typeface, we would come to this passage that we've just read together and put it in bold type. Because the author intends that we see that here something vital is taking place, something important that God wishes to communicate with us. Now there's a certain paradox in the middle of our passage today, because at the beginning of chapter 33 and the verses that immediately precede the verses that we read, the Lord shows his anger towards the people as a result of the making of the golden calf. And he says to Moses, I will send you and the people into the land I promised to them. They will successfully achieve what I said, but he says, I will not go with you, because you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way. And he says, my angel will go with you, but I myself will not do so. But then, just a few verses later, the Lord says to Moses in that passage that we read, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Now, whenever the phrase presence is used in the Old Testament, and it actually is literally my face, it refers to the very presence, the presence of God in the midst of his people. So on the one hand, God says, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to send my angel. But now he says to Moses, I myself will go with you. And I can only conclude that the rather confused, to me at least, discussion that the Lord has with Moses prior to that is Moses very tactfully trying to get the Lord to change his mind. Well, you've said this, Lord. You're not going to go with us. Only your angel's going to go with us. But can I perhaps suggest that there are reasons why you should go with us? And Moses gives one particular reason. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all other people on the face of the earth? Moses is saying that unless the Lord goes with his people, whatever they might achieve, however much they may succeed, however much they may appear to fulfill God's promises and plans, if he is not present with them, then it is merely an empty shell. So we come to our situation. One of the things about COVID is that we've come to the point, most of us I think, where thinking beyond the present day is almost impossible, isn't it? We're just hoping that we can get through today, let alone the week, And certainly thinking about the future for many of us is something that is too far away to consider. But the time will come when we will individually and as a parish start asking questions. How can we fulfill God's purposes for us? How can I fulfill God's calling upon me? How can we here at St Mary's, over there in Little Bursley, St John's, Emmanuel Christchurch, how can we fulfill God's purposes? And at one level, that is not that difficult. At least it may not be difficult to identify what we should do and how we should do it. But if the Lord is not present with us, however successful our schemes might appear, however full our churches, however apparently blessed the activities we undertake, if God is not with us, if the Lord is not with us, if his presence is not with us, then actually its impact upon the world outside will be negligible. Our witness will have little effect, because it is the Lord being in the midst of his people that is the means by which he is glorified, and ultimately we are blessed. That was a lesson that Moses understood, and therefore I suggest that was why he pleaded with the Lord, go with us. If you don't go with us, may we perish here in the wilderness. Go with us, so that in your fulfillment of your purposes, you yourself will be glorified in and through us. And that's a challenge to me, and I trust it's a challenge to us all as we reflect upon our futures, the parish's future and our own church's future.